I finally got around to watching Umbrella Academy Season 4, and I've got to say, a lot of you were definitely exaggerating when you were complaining about how bad this was. But before I get more into that, good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. My name is Aiden, and if you like comics, superheroes, and all the other related media, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because that's all I do on here. So, there were definitely flaws going into Season 4, and it was 100% a victim of circumstance around many things in real life. But holy shit, this was still a pretty good season of Umbrella Academy. There were things that I would have done differently when it came to plots around the Brellies, and certain subplots I would have deleted and expanded on more. Like, for example, I would have deleted the whole Lila and Five relationship thing because felt like kind of a mischaracterization up until Five went to keep secrets from Lila because he's a real piece of shit, and he's always done whatever would benefit him. But the whole relationship between them and the implications that it had is very predatory and gross no matter how you look at it, and not to mention how little chemistry they actually had, until it truly was like a last man on Earth type of scenario. And even at the same time, it kind of sort of made sense for Five's character because he fell in love with the mannequin 3 minutes into the apocalypse, so it stands to reason that he would fall in love with whoever he spent any singular amount of time with, especially if that person was someone he's already had a history with. It was completely out of character for Lila, and I will completely stand by that unless someone points out exactly why she would have felt anything for Five in any scenario. I mean, Five's a selfish asshole. Obviously, he would completely lie to her for his own gain. If we went for 4 seasons and you're just realizing that now, then you have not been paying enough attention. But even so, Lila didn't make that much sense for that pairing because they've hated each other so much in previous scenes. And she literally has kids with Diego, even though, yeah, they're through a little rocky rough patch. I don't think that she would go against their relationship as she's previously done a ton of things for their relationship before. But more so, I would have expanded the season at least 4 episodes to match the pacing of the other seasons, and this show kind of tried to have the same amount of stories as the last couple seasons, with almost half of the amount of time that they actually had to pull it off. And I think that's really what held it back for me and a lot of other fans. It's not like being 6 episodes held it back that much. The storyline was pretty easy to follow, but even so, it should have been expanded on more. Some things like the Jennifer subplot were kind of sucky if you started to look too deep into it. What was the whole point of her being the Squid Girl if you never actually explain her backstory and how she got inside the squid in the first place? As well as all the other subplots from Season 3, none of it really felt super wrapped up. But to be fair, I feel like that's mostly on the fault of the time skip. But even introducing Jennifer wasn't fully out of nowhere. Since Season 1, people have actually been wondering a lot about what happened to Ben, and reintroducing him as a Sparrow was the best way for us to get to see what caused his death in the original timeline. And introducing a brand new character was a great way to show the death, but I wish they would have expanded on it a little bit more and showed us more about Jennifer, like I said before. However, even with these problems, like not explaining why Luther stopped looking for Sloane or whatever happened to the rest of the Sparrows besides that they were just erased, Season 4 was still on par in quality with the other 3 seasons. I mean, most of the characters still acted like themselves, the humor was still good, and the relationship between the Borellis still felt like the 3 seasons before. I mean, let's be real. This show isn't anything like the comics, in any way, shape, or form. Sure, they have similarities, but it's not adapted to be like the comics, so don't even use that as an excuse to why it's not good. The hate train for this season was kind of crazy. It was so bad that I even delayed watching it for a year, because all I heard from people was that it sucked. But it really didn't. It was entertaining, heartfelt, and hilarious. The plot made sense for the story that they've been pushing for the last 3 seasons, and the way they actually wrapped it up oddly made sense. Everywhere the Umbrella Academy exists, the end of the world would arise because of their problematic nature. Season 4 explained why the end of the world would seemingly continuously follow the Umbrella Academy everywhere they went, even though it kind of felt like a little bit unsatisfying at points. It still showed us why the Brellies couldn't exist in the world without putting so many people at risk, especially if they wanted to continue their supernatural lives. Them expecting that they would be able to keep all of the benefits of their powers without any of the consequences was incredibly naive, but it's still true to their character. They all are emotionally stunted adults who grew up with an abusive father, and they'll tend to be a little naive and immature at times. So it's not really a stretch that they would be naive and immature here. Even using Hargreeves and showing how manipulative he was and how manipulative Abigail was too, and showing how perfect they really are for each other, was a great way to build on those two and the plot from previous seasons. But if anything, the time skip was the best thing that could have happened to this season, because without it already being crammed, it likely would have felt way more crammed if they hadn't done the time skip. Season 4 had to kind of be a time skip to explain away why most of the previous subplots wouldn't be expanded upon. With the episode and budget cut and all the other complications that this season ran into along the way, a time skip was a great choice to start fresh and be able to end the season on a couple of wins and a couple of losses rather than just a bunch of losses. Realistically, Season 4 wasn't of any better quality than the other seasons, but let's be honest, it's not of that worse quality than the other seasons. It kept the characters true to what we know about them, but it still gave them room to grow along with giving them a little bit of a satisfying ending. But if I were to rank the seasons of Umbrella Academy, Season 4 would definitely be at the bottom, but it's not like it's that far down from Season 3. I'd probably go Season 2 at top, Season 1 next to it, Season 3, and then Season 4. But it would honestly depend on which specific episodes that I was talking about in Seasons 1 and 2. When talking about Season 4, it's really not of better quality. But like I said, it's not that bad of a season for following the Borrellis and their relationships with one another. I can understand why this might be your least favorite season of the show, but honestly, it's not the worst thing ever created, and it's really up to you in the end if you didn't enjoy it or not. Season 4 was what it was, and whining about the time skip or whatever other reasons is just stupid because the same nitpicks can be made about all the other seasons. But with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can check out my other socials and videos on the screen now. Have a great day, and okay, bye now.